Hey, welcome back to How It's Really Going with Shane and Wrecker. Today, I want to talk about this whole topic of creating millionaires, because this is in the online coaching space. This is absolutely something I see a lot of coaches using as their showing that their social proof that they've made $1 million and that's why they're good coaches. I've also seen coaches create programs around becoming millionaires. I just want to talk about this whole topic of this $1 million benchmark for success, because I actually have a lot of different thoughts about this. And I want to just riff on this because I did an Instagram reel where I talked about what it really takes to actually make $1 million, which is what we're going to talk a little bit about here as well. The feedback I got from you guys on that post was like, yes, thanks for having this conversation and that. So I base some of the things that I talk about here on the podcast and on this YouTube channel on the feedback that you guys bring to some of the things that I have been sharing over on my Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram and you'd like to, I am Shana Wrecker. Let's just start talking about this whole millionaire thing. And let me be honest, I have gotten caught in the trap of making that $1 million like my success benchmark. Like it was like, I needed to make that elusive 100K month, $1 million year, 7-figure. It's like, I wanted it so bad because I felt like by me making that goal happen, that I would finally prove myself as successful in the industry, that I would be one of those elusive, special, really good coaches because I hit that mark. I've since changed my thinking on all of that. I think this topic is so important because I do believe there are people out there who use that $1 million benchmark as a way to promote themselves. And what it does is it goes back to what I talked about in that episode with Jillian Murphy about luxury marketing and how it preys on vulnerable people who are struggling financially, who are in a hard time financially, and they see that luxury marketing or they see that promise to be able to help somebody make $1 million. And they get caught into it thinking that this person has the secret sauce to making $1 million as an entrepreneur. This is where, when I did my post on Instagram, I was like, let's get really real here and talk about what it actually takes to build $1 million business, especially as a solopreneur coming into the online space. There are companies like corporations that struggle to make $1 million. And this whole marketing of, hey, it's easy to make $1 million if you just shift the way you think. It's, to make $1 million is possible for anyone. I don't think that that's real. I don't think that that is actually a reality. And I don't think it's possible for everyone to do that. And that's really what I want to talk about here. And I'm not trying to be negative and I'm not trying to burst anyone's bubbles. I just think that we have to have a really hard conversation about what it actually takes to make that kind of money. Here's a statistic. I just looked this up before I started recording on this, and this is from advisorsavvy.com. And this was from November of 2022, so not too long ago. In all of Canada, the country that I live in, there's only 4% of the people in Canada who have a net worth of $1 million or more. 4%. 4%. So that tells me right there that if it were so easy to make $1 million and to have a net worth of $1 million, that number should be much higher, much, much higher. That's where I just want to kick this off, is that it actually is a lot of work and it's really hard to make that much money. And I want to have this conversation because there are so many people who are pushing themselves like I was pushing myself to a point where it's exhausting and you're burning out and you're feeling like you're not successful because you're not hitting those goals. Yet when you look at what you've actually accomplished, you are successful. You have done some amazing things. You have created success in your life, but you don't feel that way because you haven't had, you haven't hit that 100K months to be able to have the balloons and the champagne and do the social media post. So you consistently feel like you're not enough. And eventually you burn out because you're constantly trying to push for that goal. And when you actually take a real look at how hard that actually is to create, like you might want to give yourself some credit for the work that you've actually been doing, because it is not an easy goal to hit. in my opinion. Let's just talk about this whole thing about even just that feeling of being successful. As a coach, even if you were to, as a coach who would make 6 figures in a year, so 100K in a year, if you were a coach who made 10K months, like that's pretty flipping amazing, considering I know for a lot of us, online coaching, we are doing it part-time from home. Like we're not spending 40 hours a week at our desk doing this work. I spend maybe 4 or 5 hours, and I do this full time, 4 or 5 hours a day working on my coaching business. And so as a 6-figure coach, to work that little and make 10K or 100K a year, that's pretty freaking good. So at what point do we start considering ourselves successful? Because I know for me, I felt like as a 6-figure coach, I was a failure because I wasn't even getting close to this $1 million a year. So I want you to really take a look at what success means to you. And it doesn't have to mean a 7-figure revenue in order to be successful. Not to mention, let's actually take a really hard look at when coaches say they're making that 7-figure income, they're making 7 figures. How much are they actually personally making out of that 7-figure revenue? Because here's the thing, if you are making 7 figures as an online entrepreneur, solopreneur, you absolutely have support, which means you are paying people money each month to help you create that revenue. You're probably paying maybe a graphic designer, you're probably paying an executive assistant, a VA, you're probably paying, maybe you're paying for ad spend, you're paying for software, all those things. So when you actually take that revenue that you're making and you minus your expenses, you're really not making $1 million a year because you have things to pay. Again, it's like this promise of I see coaches promising to help people make $1 million as this being the goal of success. And yet they're not actually being super honest about what it actually takes, and 2, what they're actually making as a quote unquote 7-figure coach. And again, this goes back to this whole conversation about ethical marketing. It's like when coaches are promising this and they're saying that everyone can do this, anyone can do it. Sure, I guess technically anyone could do it. But when you really boil it down, there are so many different factors that go into creating that kind of success. So many different factors. So not everybody's coming to the table with the same skill sets, with the same backgrounds, with the same privileges, with the same opportunities. So when you look at it from that standpoint, those are things that definitely change the playing field based on the person's background and where they're coming from and their skill sets, which means it's not necessarily going to be the same kind of, easy road to $1 million like people are promoting. It's everybody's journey to that would be different based on their own circumstances, right? Based on who they're networked with, who they're connected to. There are so many different things that go in to somebody actually creating that kind of wealth. And it's not just, you just need to be human and show up and everybody can do it. Again, having this conversation is because I see so many coaches, and this was me, totally me, feeling like I wasn't good enough until I hit that mark. And that is what I'm trying to eradicate by sharing this episode, is I want coaches to be able to feel successful, even if they're making 2K a month, 5K a month. If you are a coach and or an online entrepreneur, a service provider, and you are using social media and you're using the online space to build a business on your own, and you are making sales and you're putting yourself out there and people are hiring you and you're making sales, to me, that in itself is a success. Like you are having those transactions, you are making sales, you are helping clients get results. That in itself, to me, is a version of success. Now, I get that everybody's going to have goals. Everybody's going to want to have different, goals in their businesses. And I'm not against people making that kind of money. I'm not against people wanting to have more in their lives, more money, more choice, more freedom. I'm against people using that as a marketing tactic to try and get people into their program, the promise of helping people to make $1 million, the promise of helping people have a luxurious lifestyle, the promise of those things, when we all know that that isn't going to, that isn't just as easy as if you have some sort of magic method that everybody's going to be able to become a millionaire. Because if that were the case and you were pumping out millionaire after millionaire after millionaire, like there would be a lineup of people, coming to you being like, show me the way. If there was some sort of secret sauce or magic method to get people to $1 million in revenue just by thinking their way, thinking differently or doing it's just not possible, because if it were, there wouldn't just be 4% of Canadians making $1 million or more. And so it gets me questioning. It's like, well, when coaches do this and they constantly push out luxury lifestyle and look at me, look how much money I'm making, I can show you how to do this too. It makes me question how many people are actually becoming millionaires with these programs. Because I've done some of these programs that promise this kind of millionaire stuff, and I've done the work, and I'm not making $1 million. And I'm one of many who could say that. I don't want those of you who are listening to this, who have been striving for that, get to the point of burnout and feeling like a failure because you're not hitting that mark. And, not even recognizing the fact that you're probably making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month doing a coaching business part-time, which is flippin' amazing. And start recognizing that as your success. You are making sales, you are helping clients, you have a business that is turning a profit. That in itself can be successful. That in itself, and not to mention, like, you guys know that I've just started down this journey of, talking about ethical marketing and ethics in the coaching space. And I am not an expert in this at all. I am just in the learning phases. So just being super clear about that. But there's this whole thing of consumerism that also comes with this push to sell the dream of making millions, because then you can buy more, have more luxury. And if you start looking up consumerism, the dark side of consumerism, how consumerism has a negative effect on the planet and our resources, it's not a good thing, right? Because the more people who are buying, the more resources that are getting used, and that's actually harming the planet. Again, I'm not an expert, so I'm not really going to go too deep in that. But if you want to do some research on that, you can just look up the dark side of consumerism. I've done a little bit of looking into that, and it's true, right? Like the more we are earning, the more we are consuming when it comes to things, right? Because that's the thing. The luxury lifestyle branding and marketing is about having more. It's about having, more shoes, more bags, more, taking a private jet and all of those things. All of that stuff has a negative impact on our planet. And I'm not here to say that I don't buy things. I'm just saying that that's been an eye opener for me, not realizing how much having of things and buying of things is actually impacting the planet in a negative way. I'm the first one to say, I love shopping. I love having clothes. I love having things like that. I'm not here to say that it's not part of that at all. I am part of that problem for sure, but it's making me rethink, right? Like, when is it enough? Is making 6 figures a year, is that, can I live with that? Can that be good? Like, sure, I can make more and have more and I can want for more, but do I necessarily need more? I'm not saying there's one way that's right or wrong. For me, it's like reevaluating what's actually important in my life. Is making that $1 million to be able to say that I'm a millionaire? Is having the fancy shoes and the bags and being able to fly private? Is that what actually brings someone happiness and fulfillment in life? Or is that just a benchmark to hit? And then when you get there, it's not enough. And then you need more and you need more, right? And I'm certain that's the case. If you're setting your worthiness on how much you have and how much you can spend and what you can do and what you can say about yourself, all of these external factors, if your worthiness is set on those things, it will never be enough. It will never be enough, because when you get there, you'll be like, nah, I want more now. This isn't good enough. Your fulfillment and your happiness and your feeling of worthiness and success comes from within. It comes from you just deciding that you are, regardless of how much money you make, regardless of what the dollar value of your business is. And I think that's what the point of this is, helping people get back to the place of realizing that they don't need millions of dollars as an entrepreneur to be considered successful, because that's a really dangerous trap to get into, because you start going for that and you realize the thing is, it's like to make $1 million, that's $100,000 a month. Now, I don't have the breakdown of what that is per day, but it is a lot. Do you know how much work goes into, like, as somebody I've had a $30,000 month. I've had 10K months many times over in my business. I've had 25K months in my business. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because for me to make that income that I've made in those months, I fucking worked hard. I put myself out there. I was doing live launches and on social media, and I was doing all the things and had a VA and was, all of those things. And it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. It was mentally a lot of work. It was physically creating and putting myself out there a lot of work, doing master classes and live things. And don't get me wrong, I love doing a lot of that stuff. So it's not like I was like, it was like I was miserable, but it was work. It was a lot of determination. It was sacrifices. This is what I'm saying, that a lot of times these people who are preaching this millionaire lifestyle and how easy it is and how anyone can do it, they're not telling the whole truth about what it actually takes to get there. The sacrifices. When I was a top leader in my network marketing business, I was earning my top paychecks as a network marketer were in between $15,000 and $20,000 a month. And let me tell you, and network marketing is a thing where it's like, if it's like, it wasn't all that income wasn't just all based off my efforts. It was based off my efforts and my team's efforts. And it was a big thing. Even though, with that being said, I still worked like a dog to make that kind of income. You know how much I sacrificed in the beginning of my network marketing business? I was out 3-4 times a week because at that point it was pre-COVID, it was back in 2010, 11. We were doing in-person parties and things like that in people's houses. I was out 3 and 4 times a week at night, missing putting my kids to bed. I was traveling a lot for conferences and, launching new consultants in my business. And I missed a lot of things in the beginning stages for many years, 4 or 5 years, while I was building that business to be able to make that kind of money. There were flipping sacrifices in my life, big sacrifices. And so again, there's things like that people they won't share, they don't talk about, because they want you to feel like it's easy so that you buy into their thing, their method, their mentality, their program, their whatever. And if you are thinking that you can just think your way to $1 million and not have to work hard, I'm here to tell you that, in my opinion, that's bullshit. That it takes a lot of determination. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of you putting yourself out of your comfort zone. It's going to take you to sacrifice a lot of things. If you've made 5 to 10K in your business, you'll know like that takes that in itself takes a lot of effort. Now multiply that by 10, right? Like that it's going to take a lot. So no matter what other people are saying about how easy it is to just jump into the online space and make millions, I'm here to tell you that I believe that that's bullshit, and that it's possible, 100%. It's possible. People have done it. There is proof out there. There's lots of people who have done it. But when you look at the statistics of Canada, 4% of Canada are millionaires. So it's not something that just anyone and everyone can just step into. So I really want you to be realistic about what it is that you're creating. And I say that realistic. And I'm somebody who used to be flipping woo to the, what about law of attraction and, manifesting and visualizing. And it's all of those things. And I'm not saying that those things aren't real. I still, some of it I'm still believing in. There's a lot of it I'm questioning, to be totally honest. I do believe that if you have a goal and you are determined and you have the passion and you can see it, you will take actions that will lead you towards that goal for sure. I do believe that can happen for anyone. I also am realistic about what it actually really takes to hit those 6-figure months, 7-figure years, multiple 7-figure years. I don't know. I just, to be honest, don't think that it's possible for every single person to do. I don't believe that it's just something that anyone can just do. Because if it were, we'd have more millionaires. The whole point of this is to just help really stress your success doesn't have to be 7 figures in order to be successful. Your goals don't have to be 7 figures in order for you to be successful. I think success is an energy. It's how you feel about yourself. It's how you feel about your business. It's how you feel about your clients. I think success is just something that you get to decide what is successful for you. As a coach who in this past year, I have, January for me was a successful month financially. February, I actually didn't sell anything. I didn't sell a damn thing in February, and I didn't even promote anything in February. But that was because I was taking a step back and looking at my business and looking at the ethics and looking at what needed to change and look at how I wanted to move forward so that I could help more people, so I could create programs that were more affordable for new coaches coming in. Like, I really just took some time. I look at that and be like, that was a success. I didn't make a dime, but it was a success because it has literally shifted how I see everything and how I want to move forward. And I feel so good about the things that I'm creating and the things that are coming from my business that are going to help coaches in ways that are so affordable, in ways that are so going to support them and help them figure out what they need to do to start their businesses. And I didn't make a cent. So to me, that was successful because I have that new clarity. And so again, it's like, if we need to stop making 7 figures the benchmark for success in this space, because it's really hurting people. It's driving them to burnout. They're comparing themselves. They're not seeing their own success. They're feeling less than. A lot of them, I'm sure, are quitting. There are probably coaches out there who have made $100,000 or $200,000 a year who are feeling like they need to give up because they're not making $1 million, because that's this like elusive new benchmark that seems to be, the quote unquote norm for for coaches that are making in the industry. Like it's super easy or something. And myself being one of them. I've been making 6 figures as a coach since probably 2017, 18. And believe it or not, many, many years in a row, I felt like a failure because I can't seem to break that 6-figure mark, when really I should be like praising myself for getting to 6 figures and doing it over and over and over again as a coach in the online space, doing it myself, and my, the VAs and things I've had in my life, which I have had and I have paid to help. So I'm not even technically making 6 figures myself. My business has, but I feel like a failure because I haven't made $1 million or had 100K month. But still, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to start recognizing what success actually is and stop pushing this whole more is better, more money, more power, more stuff, more whatever. Like, because the focus isn't where it needs to be. The focus needs to be on how are we helping the world? How are we helping people? How are we changing people's lives? Just by making them make more money? Like, money doesn't fix problems. Money doesn't make happiness. Sure, it can get you things. And I'm not against, like I say, having things and having choice and all of that stuff. But that's not really where the fulfillment and happiness comes from. You can make $1 million and still be miserable. This is the conversation that I wanted to create with this podcast episode. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this whole $1 million benchmark, creating millionaires, money programs that are, promising this $1 million results. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I just want to say, I'm not here to dog on it for the sake of being upset with the people who are doing it. It's not about that. It's about the people who I see, because I work with new coaches. You guys know this. I work with new coaches and I help them get their businesses started. They're coming into the space and this is what they're seeing as the benchmark for where they should be to be quote unquote successful. It's saddens me because they don't get there, and they don't get there. I mean, how many years does it take working like hard to make $1 million? I think it takes a lot. I've been doing this since 2016. I'm still not a millionaire yet. That doesn't mean that people haven't done it quickly. They absolutely have. But the average person coming into the online entrepreneurial space to make $1 million in a year or 2 years or 5 years even isn't typical. And when we promote that as something that is easy and that everyone can do, and that if you just follow this simple system, follow this method, I'll teach you the ways, you can be a millionaire too. We're not being truthful about the actual amount of people who can really actually do that. Because like I said, if you had that magic system that was pumping out millionaire after millionaire after millionaire, the 4% of millionaires in Canada would be much, much higher. And you would be lined up with people wanting to learn your methods because the results would be there. But oftentimes, the only person I'm seeing becoming the millionaire is the one who is promoting the millionaire secret sauce. So for those new coaches who are coming up, don't look at those things as your benchmark for success. You choose your benchmark for success. You get a sale, you get one sale in a month, celebrate that. Like you are making money in your business. That is something to be celebrated. That to me is a success. All right. So this is the conversation. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know how you feel about this, whether it's here on the podcast or on my Instagram or on the YouTube channel. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. I think this is a big part of the shift the industry needs to make in order to keep the coaching industry in a space is here to serve people and help people through things. It's not all about money. And I feel like that's the big thing that's happened. And trust me, I have been caught in it. I have promoted money. I used to nickname myself like Millionaire Shayna one year because that was my goal. I'm going to become a millionaire this year. And I look back at that and I just was like, oh my gosh, all the wrong reasons, doing things for all the wrong reasons. I'm here to support new coaches and on service-based entrepreneurs who want to build an online business. That's what I'm here to do, not become a millionaire. That is sure. If $1 million happens in my business, amazing. I will celebrate that. I will do good things with that. I'm not against making money. I'm against making the money the marketing tactic to bring people into the program. I just want that to be so clear. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's my rant for today. So I just did that post on Instagram and it just was like, as I was thinking more and more about it, I'm like, I need to talk about this on a bigger scale. And so here it is. So that is how it's really going with me right now. And this podcast isn't going to always be about the ethics in the marketing and all that kind of stuff. It just is right now because I'm learning and I'm shifting and I'm wanting to share this process of basically unlearning things and then relearning new things with you guys as we go. And with that being said, I am going to share with you a little something. I've got a couple things happening in my world that I have shifted that I want to share with you guys while I have you here. So the first thing is I have started hosting bi-weekly networking events inside my new free community called the Build Your Business with Shayna. So inside this networking event, you can come, everybody's going to have an opportunity to share who they are, where they're from, and their business and how they help and support people. So this is going to be a bi-weekly thing inside my community to help more people network. So it's called Connect, Collab, and Coffee. And that's happening every other week inside the Build Your Business with Shayna community. So if you want access to that, you can definitely check in the comments below. You can message me on Instagram. You can go to my website. So all of that is available for new entrepreneurs who are coming into the space or established entrepreneurs who just want to network. Feel free to join that. That group also once a month gets hot seat coaching with me. So a free hot seat coaching session every single month. You can ask your questions and I will answer them for you. The other amazing thing that I have created through all of this clarity that's been happening with me over the last few weeks is a new online membership. So it's called the Build Your Business with Shayna Insiders. And this is where those who want a next level support can jump into. It's going to be weekly coaching Q&A calls. There's a copywriting coach that comes in monthly to support the members. I'm going to be doing graphic design reviews for the members in there who want their sales pages looked at, any kind of presentation templates, if they want their logo design looked at, social media graphics, anything that you've designed that you want a professional eye and opinion on. I'm going to do those design reviews once a month. It also comes with access to the Client Attractor library of modules that walks you through step-by-step how to actually set up your online business from scratch. So it's that part of it's self-led, and then you are supported with these weekly calls and the different things I just shared monthly. This is a paid community. I have kept this under $100 a month because I've seen this gap in the coaching space where there aren't very many affordable options for new entrepreneurs who are coming in to be able to get the support they want without lengthy contracts and those high ticket prices. So it is $79 a month, and you get access to all of that support in the library as long as you're a member. You can come in at any time and you can leave anytime. So if you want to come in and you're getting supported and you're loving it, you can stay at $79 a month. If you've gotten everything you needed or it wasn't for you for whatever reason, you can cancel anytime just by going into your account and hitting cancel subscription. We've made it so easy. We start with our first call on March 22nd. I am literally just launching it this week. You might even be the first to hear about it. So the links for all of that are below as well. And you can also ask me questions about this, the free community and the insiders group on my Instagram at I am Shana Rucker. Happy to chat and answer those questions for you. So if you are a newer entrepreneur looking for that how-to advice on how to set your business up for success, the membership, the Build Your Business with Shana Insiders, is absolutely the best place to do that. Now, if the $79 a month is a bit too much for you right now, no problem. That's where you're going to want to go into the free group, because you're still getting that monthly support and you also still get the networking opportunities as well. So that's really exciting. And I'm super pumped to be sharing this with you guys. And so if you have any questions, you guys know where to reach me. Links are all below. And thanks for being a part of this conversation. These aren't easy things to talk about. I share these things from a place of, I'm guilty of doing some of these things as well. I'm not sharing this from a place of blaming and shaming people. I'm sharing this from a place of creating awareness so that we can be better. And I know I need to be better. And if we can continue to have these conversations about how we can make the online coaching space feel safe and feel supported and feel like everybody has equal opportunity to create a viable business, I think that if we can do that collectively, it's going to be so good for the industry. So that is all I want to say about that. All right, everyone, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for joining me here and how it's really going with Shana Rucker. Until next time.